I'm milling about with Eli Horowitz. He's the co-writer and director of Gone in the Night. Hi.
Hello there. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's such a pleasure. So tell me about this cabin. I love it.
Well, it's up in the Redwoods in Northern California, a little town called Cazadero. There's actually a mobile home inside there that a whole cabin has kind of grown up around. I bought it about 10 years ago, fixed it up with friends. And then when I was starting to make this movie, even before I had an idea, I just thought, it's a low budget movie, an indie movie. We wanted to kind of get the most bang for our buck. So I thought this would be a great way to start it, both from a practical perspective and also from a imaginative perspective. You can really sit in a room and think like, what could go wrong here? Where could someone run to there? And, let things flow.
You have something in common with Harrison Ford because you started out as an apprentice carpenter.
I think he was better than me. I wasn't very good, but he's also a lot more handsome than me. But yes, we have many, many things in common, I'm sure.
So did you start this cabin literally from the ground up? You built it?
No. So it was this mobile home that was there since the 50s. That little things had been added on to bit by bit. And then I added no more space, but just prettied it up. But there's still like wheels underneath it.
And you lived in it as well, yeah?
Half the time, and I would rent it out half the time, which sort of also became the sort of origin story of the idea, the germ of the idea. What if I accidentally book two people at once, which is something I'm very capable of. And
did you ever?
Airbnb won't even allow you. It's not possible. The only reason I didn't is because it's not possible.
So Eli, tell me sort of how that germinated into the story, that original idea.
Well, yeah, for me, it's always kind of one step, one foot in front of the next, and then letting that grow into something that you could never have imagined if you started from the get-go and tried to think, I'm making this kind of movie, So I knew I just wanted to make a movie that played with genre, that sort of defied expectations. When you thought you knew what kind of movie it was, it veered away. So something that started with kind of a classic horror or genre premise, but then didn't play by those rules exactly. So there's that. And then there was also just like, I'm 44 years old and I'm about to turn 45, sort of this age where
you're a baby.
I know when I was 30, I thought I was old, and now that seems like a baby, right? I'm sure I'll think this is a baby, but it just, everyone's at some different place where people kind of older than you are a little bit mysterious and intimidating, people younger than you are kind of mysterious and intimidating. And I wanted to kind of harness that mystery and terror and sort of funnel it into a thriller plot.
What's interesting is that, of course, you did The Homecoming, and that sort of had this like wellness, sort of like mortality kind of theme. So does that sort of run through your projects, would you say?
I guess so. I mean, it's, none of these things are intentional, but I guess I can see that's a good connection. I think that stuff is both, it obviously has this kind of eternal dramatic power, mortality and all these questions, but it's also kind of so funny to me too, all the things we'll do to convince ourselves that we're not going to die, and people been doing for thousands of years. It's never worked, but people still think they're figuring it out, and there's something kind of funny about it to me.
And of course you live in a place where that exists all the time, where everybody's so worried about their looks.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm in Northern California, so it's less like the Hollywood polish and more like people thinking they can hack it somehow, like, oh, I figured out aging doesn't have to apply to me, because I came up with a technological or scientific reason, which is its own kind of vanity, of course.
Yeah, we don't want to give too much away and spoil the movie for everybody, but that is part of this thriller aspect.
I mean, in a way, the whole movie is about, each person's relationship with their own mortality, not to make it sound too dry, but yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about your great cast, first of all. Winona Ryder Horowitz, no relation, yeah?
No relation, none at all. It's just a lucky coincidence.
Yeah. Did you talk about this?
I mean, we talked briefly about it. I mean, that was in my, I didn't have any connection to her, but I just wrote her a note asking her to be in it. And that was definitely mentioned. Also, she grew up right in this area, very close. Because we filmed in some places in Petaluma that she hung out as a teenager. So that was also helpful. But yeah, it was so exciting to get her on board. And then once I had her, other people were excited to come on board. So Dermot Mulroney was great. And then I also wanted the cast to be spread through these decades, kind of. So we had Dermot in his 50s, Winona in her 40s, John Gallagher Jr. in his 30s, and then Owen Teague and Brianne Chu in their 20s, to really kind of place the movie within these lifespans without having to talk about it directly.
And you actually reunited Winona with Dermot.
Yeah, exactly. They had been in How to Make an American Quilt in, I think, 1994 or something like that. Yeah.
Nominated for Best Kiss, no less.
MTV Movie Awards. Yeah. They lost to like an species, the movie Species, where Natasha Henstridge is an alien. She kisses someone. That beat them. But
well, they don't kiss in this.
No, they come close. They come close. No, it's a middle-aged kiss.
I have to tell you, for my money, Winona Ryder is the best actor who can convey fear like no one else.
Her face is just so expressive, and she's so present in everything she does. Yeah.
And this was like your very first feature, yeah? So how intimidating is that?
It's pretty intimidating. I mean, I definitely Googled how to direct a lot.
No, you didn't.
I definitely did. I would read directing, just read Directing for Dummies. I read a lot of books, talked to a lot of other people who had done it. But yeah, because I came to this, relatively late. I was doing editing and designing and writing books for like 15 or 20 years before I stumbled into it through Homecoming. So yeah, everything was very new to me and very, very exciting. But luckily I had this amazing crew around me. So, in some ways the director can be the easiest job. You're just sitting there and everyone else is having to do all the dirty work. So that's what really made it possible. Yeah.
So I have to know, Eli, about some of the snafus that happened.
I mean, every day is a snafu. On an indie movie, every day is just survival. So mostly, I think I've mostly blocked them out, because there were a lot. I mean, you're just dealing with one thing or another: angry neighbors, poison oak, things falling. But it was generally pretty good. I mean, we had this like really hardworking, really energetic crew. It was all during COVID, so we were in this little bubble. So it was a good team.
Nobody slept in the cabin, I would imagine.
No, we slept in the cabin during prep. Me and David Bolin, my DP, slept there during prep to really, because that way we could plan it out. That was so great about having it in my own space, that we could just be like in advance. This will go here. This way we made whole charts, and we could really lock it down instead of having to figure it out every morning.
Were there any scary moments that happened, like weird moments like that?
I mean, there's some that I probably can't talk about on camera, but
yes, you can.
But no, I'm trying to think. I mean, I'm trying not to use spoilers. We spent 3 days in this very small, very hot space all together. So that made it, didn't really feel that much like a film set. It felt just like that space. So that kind of created its own sort of dread that hopefully got funneled into the performance.
And I want to ask you about some things that you've done in your career that might be true or not.
Sure.
You ready?
Yeah.
Did you write science trivia questions?
Yeah, they were science trivia questions based on the movies of the 90s. In Armageddon, Steve Buscemi gets space rage and shoots his gun all over the moon. What would happen if you tried to shoot a gun in space? And then, yeah. The internet, it was early days of the internet. It was very popular. The internet was very popular in 1999, 2000, 2001.
And what were they used for?
A site that never existed. It was going to be called thescience.com, and it never launched. It just had it wasn't my own thing. It was my first job out of college. Yeah, I have a lot of science trivia about Men in Black or lesser Billy Crystal movies. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. And we also talked about the fact that you were a carpenter. So what did you do with that?
Well, it it keeps circling back. I wasn't very good at it, but then after that, I was volunteering to help build this tutoring center that then in San Francisco called 826 Valencia, that became my job at this independent publisher, McSweeney's, that sort of was the next 10 years of my life that led to all this other stuff. And then also because of that is how I was able to buy this house that needed work and fix it up. So that it became, so even this skill that I'm not very good at and seem like just a dalliance, keeps sort of triggering other kind of artistic endeavors. Yeah.
Wow. So you really did come full circle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. And where are you living now?
I live in San Francisco. I'm not there right now, but I live in San Francisco. Yeah.
So where are you now? What's
right now? I'm in Istanbul.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, my wife and I, after being cooped up for 2 years, decided to finally just freak out and go somewhere. So we've been here. I come back in a couple of days.
That must be probably the most exotic vacation that you can take.
It's pretty good. I mean, we were at the bazaar today, and it was definitely like a bazaar. Yeah, there was a guy selling leeches that you could put on your face. Yeah, it's been fun.
Talk about aging. Were those leeches for aging?
I think they were probably for a whole variety of things. The sign was all in Turkish, so they're just pictures, but definitely on your face, on your eyelids. I mean, the other thing is Turkey and Istanbul specifically is, I think, like the global home of plastic surgery. It's really cheap here, and people come from all over the world to get plastic surgery and hair transplants. So I've seen lots of people walking around with like big bandages in one place or another, which is never something I really thought I wanted, but seeing it this much, you start to think like, I mean, while I'm here, why not, right? It's like a souvenir.
It might inspire your next movie, Eli.
Possible. That or the leeches.
So what is your next project?
I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out. I feel like I've done sort of one of a lot of things now. And now I sort of need to look back on all and think what I actually want to do. I've just been trying things out. So now I don't know. We'll see. I'm open to any suggestions.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Gone in the Night. Eli Horowitz, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take care.
He left me.
Always news. Always refreshing. Always candid. Always milling about. Robin Milling delivers what celebrities are saying to you.